The most dangerous knife isn't held by an enemy but by someone you've already invited to dinner. Behind every warm smile and friendly handshake, a hidden threat could be quietly sharpening its edge. Imagine a Trojan horse entering your psychological city walls, disguised as a loyal and trusted ally. How many people in your life are currently trading your most private secrets for social currency? If you lost everything tomorrow, who among your circle would actually stay to help clear the wreckage? Deception is not a random act, but a carefully calculated strategy built on misplaced confidence. Every secret shared is a vulnerability offered to someone who might eventually use it against you. The betrayal we never see coming usually starts with a subtle saboteur hiding in plain sight. To protect yourself, you must understand the dark mechanics of power and the architecture of deception. We must turn our gaze toward a man who mastered the cold reality of human nature. Niccolò Machiavelli remains history's most profound observer of how influence and treachery truly operate. He understood that power is often a game of masks, where the sycophant plays the deadliest role. In the high-stakes world of Renaissance politics, Machiavelli saw how the Pazzi family plotted in shadows. Their story serves as a timeless warning about the zero-sum ego that drives many modern betrayals. Machiavelli famously noted that he who deceives will always find those who allow themselves to be deceived. This cycle of manipulation continues today, fueled by the unsuspecting and the overly trusting soul. You might be dealing with a crisis architect, someone who creates chaos just to appear as your savior. To survive the modern landscape, one must learn to see through the masks of false loyalty. True power lies in the ability to recognize a threat while it still feels like a friendship. Identifying these predators requires more than intuition. It requires a calculated and strategic information diet. By controlling what you reveal, you strip the subtle saboteur of the weapons they need to strike. Sometimes the best defense is becoming a gray rock, unmoving and offering nothing for them to exploit. We begin this journey by looking at the sharpest minds in history to find our own shield. But how do we spot the hand on the hilt before the blade finally begins to move? Let us dive deep into the Machiavellian mind to dismantle the illusions of those closest to us. Machiavelli wasn't a monster. He was a realist who dismantled the false illusions of human nature. We are taught that being good is enough, yet in a world of wolves, being a lamb is a death sentence. Niccolò Machiavelli argued that those who make a profession of goodness will necessarily come to absolute grief. In the high-stakes game of social power, goodness is not a shield. It is a target. Imagine human nature as a shifting tide, predictable only in its constant and cold instability. Why is it that those we help the most often become the ones who resent us? He observed that men are ungrateful, fickle pretenders, always shunning danger and greedy for gain. Your kindness often builds a pedestal that a subtle saboteur will eventually use to crush you. These figures act as a sycophant, whispering praise while calculating how your success diminishes them. They suffer from a zero-sum ego, believing that your every victory is their personal loss. To protect yourself, you must learn the art of the information diet and stay guarded. The Pazzi family learned too late that proximity to power breeds a hunger for absolute control. Machiavelli noted that men are inclined to obey their immediate needs rather than long-term moral debts. When a crisis architect creates chaos, they are simply following the path of their own gain. Dealing with these wolves requires the gray rock method, becoming as uninteresting as a common stone. A man who wishes to be good in everything must suffer among those who are not. True power lies in recognizing that most people are dissemblers, hiding their true intentions behind smiles. Loyalty is often a temporary mask worn until a more profitable opportunity presents its jagged edge. We must stop viewing the world as we wish it to be and see it clearly. Envy is the most invisible fuel, an emotion everyone feels but no one ever dares admit. Is your current circle a garden of support or a pit of hidden, sharpening daggers? To survive, you must master the mechanics of betrayal before the first strike even lands. Every sycophant in your life is a potential traitor waiting for the right moment of weakness. Machiavelli's words serve as a grim blueprint for navigating the treacherous waters of modern social dynamics. Understanding that men shun danger and chase profit allows you to predict their every move. The silent rot of envy destroys bonds from the inside out, long before the betrayal happens. A subtle saboteur never attacks openly, preferring to erode your reputation through quiet, calculated whispers. You must recognize the sycophant whose loyalty is merely a calculated tool for their own advancement. In this cold reality, being a lamb is a death sentence in a world of hungry wolves. And the most invisible fuel for this reality? It's an emotion we all feel, but no one admits. Niccolò Machiavelli watched the courts closely, identifying one emotion as the ultimate poison within a social circle. This isn't just simple jealousy. It is the most dangerous emotion found in the entire human spectrum. While most people admit to anger or greed, no one ever confesses to the burning fire of envy. In the eyes of a master realist, envy acts as the invisible fuel for every betrayal and backstab. To understand its power, we must look at the dark transformation occurring within a fake friend's mind. It begins innocently enough with a quiet thought. I want to have exactly what you have achieved. But soon, the desire to emulate turns into a much more sinister and destructive psychological shift. The motivation changes from wanting your success to wanting you to lose everything you have built. This transition marks the birth of a predator who thrives on your downfall rather than their own gain. This is the mechanics of the zero-sum ego, where your victory is seen as their personal defeat. In this warped reality, the only way for them to rise is by ensuring that you fall hard. Such a person becomes a subtle saboteur, whispering doubts while smiling directly into your unsuspecting face. They might play the role of a sycophant, praising your work while secretly planning its total collapse. Machiavelli observed this exact pattern with the Pazzi family as they plotted against the powerful Medici dynasty. Like a crisis architect, the envious friend waits for the perfect moment to pull the structural rug out. Their weapon isn't a physical blade, but the careful manipulation of your reputation and private vulnerabilities. They study your life, looking for the cracks where they can insert their quiet, poisonous influence. This is why your success often triggers the very people who claim they wanted it for you. Every milestone you reach serves as a painful reminder of what they feel they lack in themselves. To protect yourself, you must start placing your most valuable plans on a strict information diet. By starving the zero-sum ego of details, you deny the subtle saboteur the fuel they require. It requires the discipline of a gray rock, becoming uninteresting to those who seek to drain you. When you stop providing the ammunition, their envy has no target to hit and eventually burns out. Understanding this psychological shift is your first layer of armor against those hiding in plain sight. Because once you see the envy, you can no longer be blind to the danger it brings. To defend yourself effectively, you must first learn to categorize the threats hiding in plain sight. There are 3 specific masks the hidden enemy wears within your own private social circle. Let us strip away these deceptive masks to reveal the cold reality of these modern social predators. Which of these dangerous faces do you recognize in your contact list at this very moment? First, we encounter the Sycophant, a character who mirrors your thoughts with constant, false enthusiasm. This individual thrives on a zero-sum ego, feeding your vanity to gain unearned proximity and trust. They are the one who agrees with everything you say, never offering a single honest challenge. Behind their constant praise lies a void where true loyalty and personal integrity should actually exist. Niccolò Machiavelli warned that a flatterer is often the most dangerous ghost in any royal court. Next, we must identify the crisis architect, the master of manufacturing chaos for their own benefit. This predator creates a fire just so they can appear as the hero who saves you. They thrive on your vulnerability, ensuring you remain dependent on them during every staged emergency. Watch for the person who is always present during tragedies but vanishes during your victories. Their ultimate goal is to keep you off balance, making them the only constant in your life. Finally, we face the subtle saboteur, perhaps the most cunning and difficult enemy to detect early. They do not attack with a roar, but with a whisper that slowly erodes your confidence. This archetype uses backhanded compliments and tiny delays to derail your progress from the shadows. They are like the Pazzi family, smiling at your table while sharpening a blade for your back. Identifying these 3 archetypes is the first step toward reclaiming your power and your peace. Protect your secrets with a strict information diet to starve these predators of their social leverage. Employ the gray rock method to ensure you remain uninteresting to those seeking to exploit your energy. The first face you must learn to recognize is the one who agrees with everything you say. Flattery is not a compliment. It is a sedative designed to put your sound judgment to sleep. Meet the Sycophant, the master of feeding your ego until you are too blind to notice the trap. This mask is a mirror, reflecting exactly what you want to hear to gain your total trust. Niccolò Machiavelli observed these dangerous social predators stalking the halls of every powerful court in history. He warned that these courts were constantly teeming with flatterers who specialized in the art of deception. They do not seek your friendship. They seek the leverage that comes from inflating your zero-sum ego. In his masterpiece, The Prince, Machiavelli dedicated an entire chapter to the vital task of avoiding flatterers. He knew that once you crave the sweet poison of their praise, your objective reality begins to crumble. Think about the person in your circle who never challenges you and always agrees with your every word. Does their praise feel like it was earned, or does it feel like a calculated social transaction? Ask yourself honestly, when was the last time this person actually had the courage to tell you no? Flattery acts as a thick sugar coating on a bitter pill, hiding the true intentions of the giver. Like the Pazzi family plotting in the shadows, these manipulators use words as their primary tactical weapons. They study your insecurities and turn your pride into a handle they can use to pull your strings. Machiavelli understood that a leader who loves praise more than truth is destined for a swift downfall. To protect yourself, you must adopt an information diet and limit what you reveal to the overly agreeable. Use the gray rock method by becoming as uninteresting and unresponsive as a stone to their empty praise. By denying them the emotional reaction they crave, you effectively neutralize their ability to manipulate your ego. Remember the mechanics of deception we discussed earlier. The Sycophant is the most subtle of all architects. They build a pedestal for you just so they can decide exactly when and how you will fall. Their constant agreement is not loyalty. It is a calculated investment in your eventual psychological bankruptcy. Recognize the pattern of the Sycophant before their false validation becomes a cage you cannot escape from. But if the flatterer puts you to sleep, the next archetype keeps you in a state of constant panic. Enter Archetype 2, the Crisis Architect, a figure who thrives in the wreckage of their own making. Misery doesn't just love company, it demands it, pulling everyone down into a self-sabotaging whirlpool of chaos. Some people have a talent for drowning, and they will pull you under just to stay afloat. Robert Greene, a modern student of Machiavelli, identifies this dangerous personality as the infector of social circles. Much like a biological virus, the infector spreads their misfortune to everyone foolish enough to offer help. Have you ever noticed a friend who is always at the center of a raging, inescapable storm? This is no coincidence. The crisis architect builds the very disasters they claim to be victims of daily. Their life is a sequence of emergencies that somehow always become your immediate and exhausting responsibility. While you try to solve their problems, they are busy manufacturing the next catastrophe to keep you hooked. Niccolò Machiavelli watched the courts closely and observed that misfortune is often a choice, not an accident. He famously advised his followers to distance themselves from the unlucky to avoid catching their inevitable downfall. Associating with these people is like walking into a plague ward without a mask or any protection. They possess a zero-sum ego, believing their survival depends entirely on draining the resources of others nearby. While they look like victims, they are actually subtle saboteurs of your peace and your long-term progress. To the infector, your stability is an insult to their chaos, so they work to dismantle it. Every time you pull them out of the water, they wait for the moment to drag you back. This cycle isn't about bad luck. It's a calculated, though often subconscious, method of social and emotional control. If you don't recognize the pattern, you will find yourself paying the price for a debt you never owed. Defending yourself requires a cold realization. You cannot save someone who is actively trying to sink the ship. Start by placing them on a strict information diet, giving them nothing they can use to fuel drama. Become as uninteresting as a gray rock, providing no emotional reaction for their chaotic fire to consume. It sounds harsh, but protecting your own future requires the ruthlessness that Machiavelli preached centuries ago. If you stay in the infector's orbit, you are choosing to participate in their eventual and certain destruction. The weight of their baggage will eventually break your back if you refuse to set it down. The crisis architect is loud and visible, but the third archetype is a ghost lurking in the machine. Finally, we move from the loud chaos of the architect to meet the chilling subtle saboteur. Even Caesar didn't look for the knife in Brutus's hand until it was already in his chest. This figure operates like termites in your foundation, invisible until the entire house begins to lean. Have you ever noticed a compliment from a close friend that somehow left a bitter sting? The subtle saboteur doesn't attack you openly. They erode your reputation through quiet whispers and doubt. Niccolò Machiavelli warned that the most dangerous betrayal comes from those with a hidden zero-sum ego. Much like the Pazzi family, they smile to your face while measuring the distance to your ribs. Watch for the micro-expressions that flicker across their face when you share a moment of genuine success. They use backhanded compliments to keep you off balance while maintaining their mask of supportive friendship. Ask yourself this: who is really talking about you when the room is finally empty? They'd plant small seeds of misinformation, waiting for them to bloom into a full-scale reputational crisis. To the outside world, they are your loyal ally, yet your influence slowly bleeds away. While the sycophant feeds your vanity, the saboteur feeds on your vulnerability with surgical precision. Defeating a ghost requires you to stop providing the substance they need to haunt you. Start by placing them on a strict information diet, starving their ability to twist your words. Become as uninteresting as a gray rock, offering no emotional reactions for them to exploit. Pay close attention to small verbal slips that reveal their true intentions during casual conversations. Protection isn't about paranoia. It is about seeing the world through Machiavelli's lens of cold realism. The subtle saboteur thrives on your trust, turning your own history into a weapon against you. Identifying them is step one, but how do you actually prove their hidden treachery? To uncover the truth, you must run a stress test to force their hand. You don't need to wait for a betrayal to find a traitor hiding in your inner circle. Instead, you can induce a mini-crisis to see what is really beneath the surface of their skin. Think of it like stress testing a bridge before driving a heavy load over the structure. It is time to step into the role of the architect of your own social environment. Are you brave enough to know the absolute truth about the friends you hold most dear? We will utilize the mechanics of power famously observed by Niccolò Machiavelli in the Italian courts. These simulations expose true intent without ever alerting the suspect that they are being tested today. The first tool in your tactical arsenal is known as the good news trap for fake friends. Share a major personal victory and watch their initial reaction before they have time to think. A true friend celebrates, but a sycophant may feel the sting of a zero-sum ego. Do they offer a hollow compliment while their eyes betray a flash of hidden resentment or pain? If your success feels like their personal loss, you have identified a threat to your future peace. What if your best friend fails and reveals their hidden, bitter nature to you right now? Next, we deploy the information diet to catch the ghost hiding inside your social machine. Feed a specific, harmless piece of false information to the person you suspect of subtle sabotage. If that specific secret returns to you from another source, the subtle saboteur has been exposed. This method allows you to trace the leak without the messy confrontation of a direct accusation. It is a silent filter, clearing the air of those who trade your trust for social currency. The third simulation is the no audit, designed specifically to flush out the devious crisis architect. Stop providing the emotional or financial resources they have come to expect as their birthright. When the supply of your attention stops, the crisis architect will often manufacture a new emergency. Watch how they react when you refuse to play your part in their latest staged drama. If they turn cold or aggressive, their loyalty was always a transaction, never a genuine bond. To protect yourself further, embrace the gray rock method by becoming as uninteresting as a stone. By revealing nothing, you deprive the Pazzi family types of the ammunition they need to strike. You are no longer a victim of their games, but the master of the board you play. These proactive simulations ensure you never build your house on a foundation of shifting, treacherous sand. Now that the masks are off, the first test acts as a psychological mirror for them. Step inside the good news trap, where a single celebration reveals the hidden daggers of your circle. Your enemies will readily cry with you when you fail, but your success is their ultimate torture. As Oscar Wilde observed, anyone can sympathize with a friend's suffering, but success requires a fine nature. Most people operate with a zero-sum ego. Believing your sudden rise creates their inevitable social decline. When you share a victory, watch their eyes carefully to see if they light up or dim. A sycophant will offer hollow praise, while a true ally feels your triumph as if it were theirs. Niccolò Machiavelli understood that men are often so simple they only focus on their own immediate needs. He noted that a deceiver will never lack victims because people are so inclined to obey these urges. To test your inner circle, you must stop being their constant source of emotional or material oxygen. Starve them of details by starting an information diet to see who eventually gasps for the missing air. Share a small, insignificant secret and track how quickly it travels back to your own ears. A subtle saboteur thrives on these leaks, using your private life as social currency for their benefit. When you shared your last win, did their eyes light up, or did they look for the floor? Can they truly handle your light without feeling like they are being pushed into the dark? Recall how the Pazzi family pretended to be allies before orchestrating a bloody betrayal against the Medici. The crisis architect waits for your moment of vulnerability to offer a hand that is actually a trap. True loyalty is found in the silence of your struggles and the loud cheers of your triumphs. Use the gray rock method during these tests to become as uninteresting as a stone to predators. By withholding the drama they crave, you force the deceiver to look for a more rewarding victim. The starvation test reveals if they are with you for the meal or for the friendship itself. If the test comes back positive and you find a wolf, you must remain perfectly calm. Do not attack the traitor immediately, as that only exposes your hand and gives them the advantage. Instead, you must learn to neutralize the threat while maintaining the appearance of a loyal friend. Machiavellian wisdom teaches us that the best defense is often played behind a mask of total ignorance. Now that you have seen the truth in the psychological mirror, prepare for the next tactical move. Beyond the trap of celebration lies a more direct tool for unmasking the shadows in your circle. Niccolò Machiavelli knew that power reveals itself most clearly when an individual is finally told no. Enter the third and final stress test of our arsenal, the strategic and revealing no audit. Most friends expect your compliance as a silent tax for their continued presence in your life. The no audit disrupts this parasitic flow to see if they value you or your utility. To begin this test, you must wait for a small, seemingly insignificant request from your suspect. This request could be a simple favor, a loan of time, or even a minor social invitation. Instead of your usual agreement, you will offer a polite but firm refusal without any detailed explanation. Watch closely because a true friend respects boundaries, while a sycophant views them as a direct insult. The reaction you receive will expose whether they suffer from a dangerous and destructive zero-sum ego. If they respond with guilt trips, they are likely a subtle saboteur disguised as a concerned companion. A crisis architect will immediately try to manufacture a reason why your refusal is actually an attack. Notice if they become cold or withdraw their affection as a punishment for your lack of compliance. Machiavelli warned that those who cannot handle a no are merely waiting for a chance to betray. This simple audit acts as a filter, separating the loyal allies from those seeking to exploit you. Do not apologize for your choice, as a forced apology gives the predator a psychological high ground. If the audit reveals a snake, it is time to implement the restrictive and protective information diet. You are not being cruel. You are merely conducting a necessary census of your own private court. Like the Pazzi family plotting in the dark, entitlement often hides behind a mask of shared history. Once the entitlement is visible, you can finally begin the process of becoming a silent gray rock. This tactical refusal ensures that you are the master of your boundaries, not a servant to others. Every no you utter serves as a brick in the fortress of your personal and social sovereignty. Remember that a real friend will offer understanding, while a fake friend will offer only bitter resentment. Use this audit sparingly, but use it decisively when the scent of hidden envy begins to rise. You have the power to define the terms of your circle and the nature of your relationships. If you cut someone out of your life, do you do it with a sword or silence? Machiavelli offers a chillingly precise answer for those who wish to maintain the ultimate upper hand. We move beyond detection into the cold realm of neutralization, focusing on strategy instead of simple revenge. Why give a dangerous person a clear reason to hunt you when you can win invisibly? Niccolò Machiavelli famously warned that if you must injure a man, do it without fearing his revenge. A botched removal creates a lifelong enemy, but a strategic exit leaves them with absolutely nothing. To achieve this, you must operate with a surgeon's scalpel rather than a clumsy butcher's heavy cleaver. We begin by understanding the zero-sum ego that drives the sycophant and the crisis architect. The first method is the gray rock technique, also known as creating a thick fog of boredom. You stop providing the emotional fuel that the subtle saboteur needs to sustain their toxic narrative. By becoming as uninteresting as a plain stone, you starve their predatory need for constant social drama. The goal is to make yourself so dull that they voluntarily choose to seek another target. Can you truly win a psychological war that your opponent does not even know you are fighting? Next, we utilize strategic proximity, a method of keeping enemies close while strictly controlling the flow. This involves placing the person on a strict information diet to prevent them from gathering any leverage. You remain cordial and present, but your private world becomes an impenetrable fortress they cannot enter. Machiavelli observed how families like the Pazzi were destroyed when they allowed their visible intentions to show. Instead of a loud confrontation, you simply stop being a useful source of value or secret information. The third tactic is the mirror of void, where you reflect back only what they expect. You provide no authentic reaction, leaving the manipulator grasping at ghosts in an empty, silent room. Removing a threat quietly ensures you never trigger the desperate retaliatory strike of a wounded ego. It is always better to fade into the background than to light a fire that might burn you. This silent extraction preserves your peace of mind while keeping your future path clear of obstacles. The most effective way to disappear from a predator's sight is to become incredibly boring. You have mastered the art of detection. Now you possess the tools to finish the game quietly. The fog of boredom begins when you give a manipulator absolutely nothing to feed on today. What happens when a crisis architect can no longer get a rise out of your hidden emotions? Imagine becoming a gray rock in a world that thrives on colorful and chaotic social drama. You are no longer a target. You are simply an uninteresting obstacle in their path now. The gray rock method is a strategy of becoming emotionally unresponsive to starve a manipulator of drama. This powerful defense transforms you into a void that yields no satisfaction for those seeking conflict. To the subtle saboteur, your lack of engagement feels like hitting a cold and brick wall. When they try to provoke you, respond with short and dull phrases like "that is interesting." A simple "okay" acts as a shield, reflecting their toxic energy back onto their own shadow. By maintaining this information diet, you ensure they have no weapons to use against your reputation. You are not being rude. You are becoming strategically invisible within the complex social landscape. This calculated emotional unresponsiveness is the quietest way to neutralize a hungry zero-sum ego. Niccolò Machiavelli understood that moving away is not always the most effective form of personal protection. He suggested keeping your enemies closer, not for friendship, but for the purpose of constant surveillance. Watching their movements from a distance allows you to anticipate the next betrayal before it happens. A sycophant thinks they are in your circle, unaware you are merely monitoring their every move. If you cut them out entirely, you lose the vital ability to see what they plot. Keep the Pazzi family types where you can see them, hiding your true intentions behind boredom. Niccolò Machiavelli advised that you should never attempt to win by force what deception can gain. Why fight a battle in the open when you can win through quiet and calculated maneuvers? Deception is the tool of the wise, allowing you to control the narrative without unnecessary conflict. By appearing harmless and dull, you gain the ultimate advantage over those who dare underestimate you. Are you keeping them close because you like them or because you need to watch them? The choice to remain silent and observant is a power move most people will never recognize. You have mastered the art of the gray rock, turning your silence into a lethal weapon. The drama fades away when the manipulator realizes there is no reward for their toxic games. Now you possess the surveillance tools to finish this high-stakes game without firing a single shot. Your enemy believes they are winning, while you are simply waiting for the perfect strategic moment. To understand how high these stakes can truly get, we must look at history's bloodiest mass. Prepare yourself, for the quietest strategies often lead to the most explosive and legendary conclusions ahead. Beyond the fog of boredom lies a psychological weapon designed to shatter the manipulator's perceived reality. Niccolò Machiavelli understood that power thrives on reaction, but quickly withers when faced with silent reflection. This final strategy, known as the mirror of void, forces the predator to confront their own distorted image. Imagine a sycophant feeding you false praise, only to find their empty words echoing back at them. Unlike the gray rock method, this tactic isn't about hiding. It is about becoming a silent observer. When the crisis architect attempts to pull you into chaos, you simply mirror their frantic energy back. You offer no judgment or emotion, leaving them screaming into a void that provides absolutely no traction. A manipulator with a zero-sum ego requires your reaction to validate their sense of social dominance. By reflecting their behavior without comment, you strip away the fuel that keeps their psychological engine running. The subtle saboteur relies on your confusion to mask their movements within your inner social circle. When you mirror their subtle jabs with calm repetition, their mask begins to crack under the pressure. They expect a defense or an attack, yet you provide only a chillingly accurate replay of themselves. Think of the Pazzi family and how their overt aggression eventually became their own undoing in Florence. The mirror of void acts as a psychological trap, where the manipulator eventually exhausts their own energy. You must maintain a strict information diet, giving them nothing but the reflection of their own toxicity. This technique requires immense discipline to remain detached while the other person grows increasingly more desperate. They will push harder for a genuine reaction, yet you remain a surface that reflects without absorbing. Eventually, the manipulator will retreat, seeking a target who provides the emotional engagement they truly crave. You have successfully neutralized the threat by turning their own weapons into a source of personal exhaustion. This is the ultimate lesson in Stoic defense, where your silence becomes the loudest answer they receive. With the mirror of void mastered, you move from being a victim to becoming an unshakable force. Your inner circle is now protected by a boundary that simple deception can no longer hope to cross. Easter Sunday, 1478, the Cathedral of Florence. Two brothers kneel in prayer, surrounded by their closest friends. This is the brutal reality of what happens when you ignore the signs of a hidden enemy nearby. In the heart of Renaissance Florence, the Medici family reigned supreme over the city's vast wealth and influence. Among their inner circle stood the Pazzi family, trusted allies who shared their tables and deepest business secrets. For years, these families dined together, toasting to a future built on mutual profit and shared social power. Yet, behind the smiles of the Pazzi family lurked the cold calculation of the ultimate crisis architect. They weren't just business partners. They were friends who navigated the complex political landscape of Florence as one. Can you imagine kneeling next to the very person who is secretly plotting to take your life today? The Pazzi wore the mask of the Sycophant perfectly, offering praise while sharpening their daggers in the shadows. As High Mass began on that fateful Easter morning, the cathedral was filled with sacred music and incense. While the Medici brothers bowed their heads in humble prayer, their friends moved silently into a striking position. It was during the most sacred moment of the service that the Pazzi family finally unleashed their violence. This wasn't a random attack. It was a masterclass in the brutal betrayal of a zero-sum ego. Niccolò Machiavelli would later observe this event as the ultimate warning against trusting those closest to your heart. If they could strike in a cathedral during a Holy Mass, where exactly is any person truly safe? The Pazzi felt entitled to the power the Medici held, a classic trait of the envious subtle saboteur. They didn't use an information diet. They used their intimate knowledge to choose the most vulnerable moment possible. Blood stained the cathedral floor, forever shattering the illusion of safety within a supposedly trusted inner circle. The Medici survived the overall coup, but the lesson of the Pazzi betrayal remains etched in bloody history. The Pazzi failed to destroy the Medici, but they proved that the altar is the perfect place for assassination. History warns us that the most dangerous daggers are always held by those we mistakenly call our brothers. Machiavelli did not write his rules from a palace but from a farm in lonely, quiet exile. We leave the blood of Florence behind to find wisdom in the silence of the countryside. Stripped of his high-ranking position, the once powerful strategist found himself banned from the courts he loved. For years, Niccolò Machiavelli lived in forced isolation, watching the world move on without him. From this distance, the masks of his former peers began to slip away in his mind. He realized that the court was not a home for friends, but a hunting ground for wolves. It was in this deep solitude that he began crafting his most famous work, The Prince. He was not just writing a book. He was documenting a survival guide for the modern era. Machiavelli understood that to survive, one must balance two radically different animal spirits within. He famously wrote that it is necessary to be a fox to discover the hidden snares. Simultaneously, he believed one must be a lion to terrify the wolves that circle the pack. The fox is the master of detection, spotting the subtle saboteur before they ever strike. The lion is the force of nature that protects the circle from a loud crisis architect. This duality marks your shift from being a defenseless sheep to becoming a master of your environment. To the outside world, you must remain as unmovable and unreadable as a gray rock. You control the flow of truth by putting every untrustworthy person on a strict information diet. No longer will the flattery of a sycophant cloud your judgment or lower your guard. You strip away the zero-sum ego that demands constant validation from those who wish you ill. Exile was not a punishment for Machiavelli, but a training ground for his sharpest insights. Are you the fox who sees the snares, or the lion who scares the wolves away? Can you find your true power within these necessary periods of quiet and solitude? With this mindset, you do not just survive. You build a circle that remains entirely impenetrable. To understand this impenetrable circle, we must look at the man who lost everything to build it. Niccolò Machiavelli was not always a ghost. He was once a master of the Florentine political stage. Suddenly, the world he mastered turned cold as he was stripped of his high-ranking government position. Banned from the courts, he was forced to trade the halls of power for a dusty farm. The man who navigated empires now found himself surrounded only by silence and the ghosts of betrayal. He spent years in exile, living as a shadow of the statesman he once believed himself to be. In this solitude, the sycophants vanished, leaving Machiavelli to face the harsh reality of his new life. Every morning he walked the quiet woods, reflecting on the fickle nature of power and human loyalty. He realized that when the music stops, even the most loyal-seeming allies often fade into the mist. This period of forced isolation became a laboratory for the most dangerous ideas in human history. Without a public stage, he turned inward, dissecting the anatomy of power with cold, surgical precision. He watched the villagers, seeing the same patterns of ego and deception that ruled the highest courts. The zero-sum ego he witnessed in peasants was no different than that of the most ruthless princes. While in exile, he began to record his observations, turning his personal tragedy into a universal map. He did not weep for his lost status. Instead, he used his solitude to forge a weapon. In the candlelight of his small study, the words of the prince began to take their shape. This masterpiece was born not from success, but from the wreckage of a life completely torn apart. He wrote of how a leader must be both the lion and the fox to survive. Every line was a lesson learned through the pain of his own political and social downfall. Machiavelli discovered that true power is often found only after you have been discarded by the world. His exile was not an ending, but a necessary crucible for creating a legacy that outlived empires. By stripping away his title, his enemies inadvertently gave him the clarity to see through their masks. He used this period to master the gray rock technique before it even had a formal name. He became the silent observer, documenting the hidden daggers that define the reality of human social circles. Even in his loneliest moments, he knew his written words would eventually return to haunt the courts. He remembered the Pazzi family, understanding that their violent failure was a lesson in poor strategic planning. He realized that every crisis architect eventually falls when they lose control of the chaos they created. Even the subtle saboteur is powerless against a man who has already lost everything and has nothing left. In his isolation, he practiced a strict information diet, allowing only his own observations to fuel his mind. From the ashes of his career, Machiavelli emerged as the ultimate architect of the modern power dynamic. You only have a finite amount of loyalty, so spend it like gold instead of wasting water. Welcome to the hierarchy of friendship, a fortress designed to protect your autonomy from the world. Imagine your social circle as a massive fortress with concentric walls, each layer guarding your secrets. The outermost layer belongs to pleasant acquaintances who provide social noise but hold no real power. These individuals fill your schedule, yet they must never be allowed to glimpse your inner vulnerabilities. Moving inward, we find useful allies whose personal interests align with your current path to success. These partners provide value through mutual gain, though they still operate with a zero-sum ego. Who in your life is actually a dedicated ally, and who is merely useful for now? Deep within the fortress lies the Brotherhood, a rare sanctuary for those who have truly earned trust. This sacred inner sanctum is reserved for the few who have survived every grueling stress test. How many people have you granted Brotherhood status who only deserve to be simple, distant acquaintances? Niccolò Machiavelli knew that an unguarded gate eventually invites a repeat of the bloody Pazzi betrayal. Recall the sycophant and the crisis architect who constantly search for weaknesses in your social defenses. Consider the subtle saboteur, whose quiet whispers can only hurt those you have let inside. George Washington once wisely observed that it is far better to be alone than in bad company. To maintain your fortress, you must place any suspicious figures on a very strict information diet. Use the gray rock technique to ensure manipulators find absolutely nothing of substance to feed upon. By categorizing your relationships, you neutralize the power that others seek to exploit through deception. Your autonomy is the ultimate prize, and these walls are the only way to keep it. Loyalty is a limited resource that must be guarded with the cold intensity of a king. But knowledge without action is just entertainment, and you now need the deeper blueprints for survival. This is only the surface of the complex psychological chess game we play every single day of our lives. Do you want to just watch the game, or do you want to see the code it's written in? You have learned to spot the Sycophant and the crisis architect lurking within your current inner circle. You now understand how the subtle saboteur operates in the deep shadows of your daily social life. But knowing the names of your enemies is only the first small step toward true psychological mastery. To truly protect yourself, you must move far beyond the basic strategies shared with the general public. While others remain vulnerable, you can learn to master the information diet and the advanced gray rock method. Are you ready to step into the role of the architect instead of just being the temporary occupant? The Join button offers you access to the deeper blueprints of power that Niccolò Machiavelli once whispered. Inside our private circle, we dismantle the zero-sum ego and build an impenetrable mental social fortress. We take the lessons of the Pazzi family and turn them into a shield against modern human betrayal. Most people will continue to live in the dark, reacting to chaos they never saw coming toward them. You have the rare opportunity to become the one who sees through every mask and every deception. Will you be the one who is deceived, or the one who finally sees through it all? Our exclusive community explores the advanced psychological tactics that the world is often too afraid to discuss. This is your final invitation to graduate from a mere observer to a master of social dynamics. The deeper secrets of influence and defense are waiting for those bold enough to seek them out. Don't let the lessons of the fox and the lion fade into simple entertainment and forgotten thoughts. Click the Join button now to claim your place among those who understand the true nature of power. The journey into deeper psychological mastery starts the moment you decide to go behind the digital curtain. I have much more to show you, and I will see you on the very inside.